Kafka was born on July 3, 1883 in Prague. He was born into a Jewish family that was very tied into the German culture and spoke German as a first language. He had 5 siblings. His 2 younger brothers died in infancy, but he also had 3 sisters who lived into adulthood. His mother was a full-time homemaker who tried, but couldn't truly understand Kafka's dream to write. His father was a hostile, controlling man who totally dominated the house. His father also didn't approve of his writing dream. After high school, Kafka enrolled at the Charles Ferdinand University, where he planned to study chemistry. However, just 2 weeks after registration, Kafka switched to law per his father's request. Kafka also had the opportunity to take art and literature electives. He graduated in 1906, and afterwards struggled to find somewhere he felt he belonged, but eventually found work at the Workers' Accident Insurance Institute. There, he quickly became his boss's right-hand man. While Kafka was able to appease his father by getting a day job with Workers' Accident Insurance, he still managed to actively pursue his dream to write. Even though he began writing Metamorphosis, his first short story, and the only to get published in his lifetime, in 1912, Kafka remained with the company until 1917, when he was stricken with tuberculosis. He soon became bedridden and was forced to retire in 1922. Kafka finally succumbed to the tuberculosis that, in the end, cut short his career and his life, in 1924 at the age of 41. Kafka early predicted his untimely fate through Metamorphosis, when protagonist Gregor is left to die as nothing but an insect, never getting love and approval from those he cared for, feeling completely helpless and defeated. The nihilistic ideas of Franz Kafka in Metamorphosis, while outlandish to the vast majority, can still be widely relatable. It is easy to relate to Gregor's feelings of being trapped and powerless in what seems like a bleak environment, surrounded by constant pressure from his family. He forced himself to accept his situation and perceive his surroundings as ideal, leaving him paralyzed, destined for an early end. Another of Kafka's books, The Trial, shows a lot of similarities to Metamorphosis in that both books' protagonists' lives are changed abruptly and for the worse. As Gregor's life was changed overnight when he woke up as a giant bug, Joseph K. is abruptly arrested by police, and in a split second his life takes a turn for the worst. Joseph finds himself being prosecuted by an obscure unknown prosecutor with no help from his government. Just like Gregor, Joseph felt helpless and was caught entirely off guard by his situation. The Trial reminded me a lot of Crime and Punishment because I feel like Joseph K. and Rodion both convinced themselves that what they were doing wasn't a crime. Both protagonists lied to themselves and ultimately struggled to cope with the crimes they committed. This novel successfully leaves the reader with a multitude of unanswered questions. There is a unique sense of mystery in The Trial that leaves much to the reader's imagination. America was Kafka's book for America, a written explanation of his feelings toward the country. It is the story of a boy who is seduced by his housekeeper and then runs to America in an attempt to escape the scandal. The remainder of the story follows the bizarre antics of the boy, Carl, trying to succeed in America. Along the way, Carl encounters his rich, but unhelpful uncle, and finds his American dream. Sadly, the American dream turns out to be nothing but a tease just out of Carl's reach. Similar to some of Kafka's other novels, America's protagonist is subject to 1. A series of misfortunate events that deal with some wonder in a foreign land. 2. Absurdity in the way that Kafka emphasizes the frustrations of repetitive work. And 3. Situational irony. Even decades after Kafka's death, his work lives on. Just a year after his death, Kafka's close friend, Max Brod, began work on salvaging the novels Kafka never finished, and began to work with the publisher, Kurt Wolf Verlag, the original publisher of Metamorphosis, to get the unfinished works on shelves. Some works were released that same year, 1925. However, it wasn't until the 1930s that Kafka's work was available in English. Just like countless outstanding authors before him, Kafka didn't rise to fame or gain significant recognition until after his death.